almost there. Give me a second. Here we go.
All right. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Dishing the Dirt, a podcast where we dish the dirt about how to practice sustainability through the seasons. My name is Jackie Lebouitz. I'm the Chemicals in the Environment Agent at IFAS Extension, Sarasota County, and I am joined by my world famous co-host, Randall Penn.
World famous?
Yeah, we went to Scotland recently, didn't you?
I guess so. I am kind of a global faculty agent now, but I am the waste reduction agent here at with the University of Florida IFAS Extension in Sarasota County, and we have a special guest here. I'm excited about this.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce him?
So my name is Hunter Jensen. I am the program coordinator for Keep Sarasota County Beautiful, Sarasota County's anti-litter campaign. So thank you guys so much for having me today.
Yeah, we're so happy that you're here, and I'm excited too because we are collaborating on an upcoming event. So Keep Sarasota County Beautiful, teaming up with Extension. We're going to do some trash cleanup on July 5th. So definitely keep subscribed to our newsletters, our class blasts, Eventbrites, everything. Keep subscribed to everything so that you can sign up. Don't miss your spot. Spots are going fast. And what do you get when you sign up for a Keep Sarasota County Beautiful event? I know there's some free swag, if you will.
Yeah, so all of our specialty events for our big 3 are Greatest American Cleanup, Liberty Litter Cleanup, which is the one coming up pretty soon. And we also have our International Coastal Cleanup. All of our volunteers get a commemorative T-shirt for that cleanup. So they're all different. You can see one right behind me. That's from our Greatest American Cleanup we just had in April.
It's quite nice and very soft to the touch, I have to say. I might end up taking that back with me after we wrap up the podcast. So, jury's still out on that. But I also want to bring a little more context to this cleanup event. It's taking place right after the 4th of July, which is coming up really fast. I mean, faster than I would have thought. It feels like, oh, okay, hey, we're in July now. So 4th of July, right? There's a lot of fireworks. There's a lot of partying, barbecuing. It's a pretty celebratory event, a big pastime here in the United States. What are some of the pollution concerns you'd say that come along with all that celebrating?
Yeah, 4th of July is an awesome holiday. It's definitely one of my favorites, and it's a good time to bring your family together and just celebrate this awesome country we live in. But one of the things that I've noticed, or at least the July 5th, we would consider that the trashiest day of the year because everyone's celebrating so hard for the 4th of July. We're left with all this trash on July 5th, the morning of. So at least for the concerns of pollution, one of the things that we see a lot of are washed up firework shells. We'll find a ton of those. We'll also see a lot of cigarette butts. We'll see a lot of party supplies. So really be mindful of some of those things you're utilizing on the 4th of July holiday just to make sure they don't become unintended litter in our environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So on one hand, right, and Randy, I'll have you step in and speak to this yourself, but it's not very nice to look at, from an aesthetic perspective. You're walking through the park and there's plastic bags or paper plates, plastic forks, fireworks, so there's that element of it. But then it's not really great for our wildlife either, right? So what's some of the stuff that you would maybe caution people against when it comes to plastic? What are some of the big effects of it? Why do we want to reduce our use of plastic and pollutants?
Well, yeah, one thing I think about with the 4th of July is everyone's outside,
Oh, yeah.
right? It's a holiday, everyone's out and about, and so they're in our parks, they're on the beaches, they're all in a different place, and everyone's buying a lot of single-use plastics. You're buying plastic cups, plastic bags, styrofoam plates, all those sort of things that are disposable. So the main thing is just get those at least in the trash as a minimal, right? And it'll help with the cleanup on the next day. But when that stuff gets into our waterways, it breaks apart into small pieces. It can become microplastics. Birds, sea life, all sort of things can eat that, mistake it for food, and that causes a lot of trouble. We've all kind of seen that picture of the turtle or different things kind of entangled and stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, that's why I love what you guys do with the volunteers and for all those cleanups that you have on the beach there. What kind of things do you see when you go out to these cleanups? You see what you mentioned cigarette butts, but do you do things in the water? Do you ever clean up out there? And
So yeah, a lot of the things that we'll find are things that people unintentionally litter. So if you open your car door on a windy day and a lot of those shreds and things from your car, they just happen to fly out. And those are some of the common things that we'll see on the beaches or in the different parks when we do our cleanups. Some of the other common things that we'll find, especially during like our adopter roads and during these big cleanups, is cigarette butts. People have always been under this misconception that you can throw your cigarette butt on the ground and it decomposes. I mean, that's not true.
You
Like
can't throw it out the window?
no. And you know what? Keep Sarasota County Beautiful is making it easy for residents in Sarasota County to dispose of their cigarettes. Shoot us an email or even you fill out our form that you can find on scgov.net/KSCB. We offer these pocket ashtrays. So put your cigarette butts into the pocket ashtray itself, then put it in your pocket and dispose of it when you get home. So we don't find that during our cleanups because cigarette butts on the beach and on our parks and our roads, that's not something we want to see. Another thing we found too, especially so you don't throw it out your window when you're driving.
Why are you pointing at me with?
Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. But we're making it easy for residents and anyone who visits Sarasota County to really dispose your cigarette butts properly. Put this in your car cup holder. Again, you can request this through us. So when you get to your destination, you can empty out your cigarette butts when you get there. Really, we're trying to make it easy for residents and visitors to dispose of these cigarette butts so they don't end up in our environment.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a big thing you find on the beach. I've gone out in the morning and you know how the tide kind of recedes and we have that line of seaweed there. It's littered with cigarette butts, single-use plastics, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, no, really. I remember once I was just out. It was actually on a date, and my idea of a fun date is finding pollution, right? Finding trash on the beach. And we were trying to like put together a narrative for a mystery. So I know this is kind of out there, but I was like, okay, we're going to find all these clues on the beach. So we're looking for weird things, but things that also need to go in the trash. And we're trying to piece together a story. And I don't really remember what we landed on, but let me tell you, it was enthralling. Like it should probably go in a novel somewhere. But there's ways to make it fun, you know? I know it's really hot out there in July. We're going to make it fun for you during our event. There will be some prizes, some giveaways, some freebies, right? And there's also the ability to, for those of you interested in citizen science and iNaturalist, it's going to be a BioBlitz as well. So you'll get to go out and try to see how many different bugs you can find, different species. And the more bugs you find, the more bragging rights you get. So there's that. It's really a lot of different ways to, I think, approach trash pickup. And I'm not saying that it always needs to be fun, but by all means, make it a family activity. Talk to your friends. Get them to come along with you. Keep little bags or trash pickers like that one maybe in your car or in your pocket. They have the little mini extendable ones. And, just make it a habit. Make it something that you do for years to come and influence the people around you to do it, because every little bit that we can pick up really matters. And, that's in addition to also being mindful of the trash that we create and making sure that we're putting it in the right spots, whether it's recycling, trash, compost, there's different approaches to managing waste. And I think I'd like to insert a little segment here.
Should I take those grabbers when I go on dates? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it would be a green flag is what they call it, to have a trash picker in your trunk. I do stand by that. But I do want to take the opportunity here. Randall, I'm going to put you on the spot, okay? I'm going to just get some trash up here. You're going to tell me what I would do to responsibly dispose of that trash.
Okay.
All right?
I need Hunter to maybe jump in on that too. So
okay.
Some other ideas.
See how far you can get.
That's true. Let's see. You might have different perspectives too. Okay. So first one. And sorry in advance. There's going to be a little bit of what we call ASMR, a little bit of sound through the microphone. It's a little sensitive, but that could be a bonus for you. I don't know. If it's not, I apologize. We got some bubble wrap here. What do I do with this?
Well, this is one of the most commonly confused items when it comes to that because it's plastic, right? So you think you could put that in your curbside single stream recycling, but we don't want to put bags, films, that packaging and bubble wrap. We want to take it, we can recycle it, but we need to do it a little bit differently. So you could collect that in actually a separate bin and take that to one of the supermarkets. When you walk in the store there, they'll have that place to bring your plastic bags and those type of things back.
Yeah.
That's a perfect place to do that. When those go into the regular recycling, they kind of bind up the equipment. So it needs to go to a separate facility and it makes it a little bit better and improves the recycling rates.
Yeah, no, that makes
definitely
sense.
recyclable,
Oh, yeah.
but in a little bit different way.
Specialty recycling, yeah. And you can always reuse too. I just want to throw that out there. If it's very nice, bubble wrap, perhaps you're shipping out a package around the holidays too. If you're trying to bundle something up that's fragile, why not have some on hand? I have a box in my closet where I just hold on to this stuff for shipping purposes.
Perfect.
All right. I feel like this one was probably already covered. Same deal with these little wrappers, thin
Yeah, all
plastic.
those kind of films and plastic packaging and things like that.
Hey,
are
Jack,
pretty relative.
Can you grab that little wrapper again?
Oh, I sure can.
So Keep Sarasota County Beautiful. We make things easy for everybody. If you find me at these different outreach events that I do, I'm actually giving away right now these little cup holders that you can stick in your car door. We make it easy for y'all, right?
Yeah,
So
I
look,
love that.
we don't want unintentional litter. Just stick it in there. That ASMR, we're coming back with it. Stick glitter in there and it's gone. Put it in your car door, dispose of it when you get to your destination. We make it easy for y'all.
Bingo bongo is what they say. I don't know if anyone says that. I do say it though myself. That's awesome. Seriously. And it just goes right in your cup holders.
Right in your cup holder.
That's convenient. All right. Got a couple more for you.
Okay.
All right. What about this paper? I find this sometimes when I get a package coming in from somewhere, they'll use this to kind of pad it out and keep things protected.
Yeah. So, paper, all kinds of different paperboard is recyclable. So you can put that into your recycling bin at the at the end of your street there, and they'll pick it up and recycle it.
All right. Excellent. Now,
Paper, cardboard, all loose leaf mail, all that sort of stuff goes in there.
gotcha. And so, yeah, that's good to know for even the little, paper stuff that gets packed in those boxes. This one, I feel like, is a little bit of a tricky one.
Okay. Styrofoam, right? Blocks of styrofoam. Yeah, so this is styrofoam is one of those items that really doesn't get recycled anywhere. So we want to keep that out of our single stream recycling at our home. However, there are some places, some big box stores that will take styrofoam back. Now, you don't want to take those giant pieces. They probably won't want those like the TVs come in because they might not fit in. But small styrofoam, egg cartons, things like that you just showed there, I would keep those kind of like the films. Take those to the store when you bring those back in. So
Okay. No, that's a good tip. And one thing I really don't like about the styrofoam, I try to avoid it where I can. Opt for paper plates instead of styrofoam plates, things like that. But especially with those packing blocks, they're always shedding those little tiny pieces, and it's really hard to account for those. So
I'm sure you find those on there. A lot of your cleanups, those little pieces, and they fly away and you grab them.
And you know what? We'll find all these little pieces of styrofoam because like lawnmowers and stuff will hit them and it's in a trillion different pieces. And I don't think that ever really decomposes fully. No. So I know that a lot of the big companies, they've been really smart about the way they started doing packing peanuts and they started making them more organic so they will actually biodegrade and you'll find them, washed up on our beaches or in our roadways. Like that's really important that people are being considerate of what they're disposing of.
yeah, absolutely. And this is something I want to follow up on. And if you have a business that is maybe practicing more sustainable habits like that, if they are shipping things out and they're choosing, biodegradable materials, things that aren't as harmful for the planet, it's worth, spending even just a little extra money, or sometimes it's really no difference in money at all, supporting them over maybe another company that isn't practicing as sustainably when it comes to their packaging. So just want to throw that.
Absolutely. Businesses that are kind of making that next step are always good to support, especially if they're here local.
Yeah. And I have one more for you. This is another tricky one.
Okay. Okay.
And this one I kind of managed to push all the way under the table, so you're going to have to bear with me a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a roll of tape. This one is a thorn in my side because there's a lot of packages, speaking of packaging, that's just covered in tape. And it feels like it's going to take a million years to peel it off. And I'm just wondering, at Sarasota County, what do they do about tape? What should I do about tape when it comes to, disassembling a package and getting it ready for the recycling bin? What do I do?
Okay, so you're just talking tape in general, like
Tape
on
in
a bigger
general.
box that you get or something like that.
Yeah.
I think if you can take it off of the big boxes, that's always a little helpful.
Hmm.
However, when they do start to separate the cardboard and those type of pieces out at the processing plant, they are able to kind of remove that through when they start to recycle it down. But anything you can do to kind of help and have your recycling cleaner, I guess, would be a suggestion. The more kind of hurdles you have to go through, the less likely it'll make it into another product. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the county's official position would be on that, or Keep
Right,
Sarasota
right.
County Beautiful, but I think if you can remove it,
Remove it. Yeah. Give it a shot. I will do my due diligence and remove tape from boxes. It's my promise to you going forward. And then I had, guess what, another one, but I don't have an example with me. It's just something that popped up in my head. So pizza boxes. People like pizza. I'd say it's even a big thing on the 4th of July, just to bring that back. Oftentimes, big grease splotches on the box. What do you do with that? Is there any salvaging it? Can it go through the recycling, or does it have to be?
yeah, this is one I always hear, and it seems to go back and forth depending on where you're at, what city you're in, county, various things around the state. The general rule is if it's real greasy and contaminated, cheese on it and stuff, just put it into the trash. You're not gonna make it through. If it's a nice clean piece, you could tear that off and recycle it and do it. I have talked with the processors here in Sarasota County, and they're able to work through those boxes and stuff, but they prefer it to be on the cleaner side. If it gets real messy, it's just kind of not a good thing to be recycled.
No, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. All right. So thank you. That answers a lot of my big questions. I mean, some of which I knew the answer to, others I didn't. So thank you for that. And I wanted to maybe transition the conversation into what can we do, and this is open-ended, to reduce our plastic use in general without, breaking the bank or really spending a lot of time and energy on it. There's got to be some quick and easy solutions, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, it really falls down to when we heard it as kids, reduce, reuse, recycle, right? Reduce what we're using, reuse what we're using, and recycle what we're using. I know one of the things that I've really taken a strong stance at is reusing my water bottles. It's so easy to find a water filling station around. We don't need a plastic water bottle because I mean, look, we have reusable water bottle here. We have reusable services here. Like we can reuse stuff that way too. And even like with like your sandwiches and stuff like that. Like I know a lot of the retailers are starting to sell reusable snack bags. Like all these cases of snack bags usually get like 500 in a pack. Like you can use one of the reusable snack bags, and that's an easy way too to cut down some of your plastic usage.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I know with some of them, you can actually put them in the dishwasher and you don't have to spend, hours scrubbing them out. So that makes it really convenient. It's a great idea. All right. You got some tips for me?
Well, just along those lines, I think that's the way to go. Anytime you can eliminate what we say single-use plastics, which are those things we use one time and we pitch it away. So if the more you can kind of think about those things, substitute them with a reusable item or something a little bit more recyclable than the films, I think that's a good first step. Try to make one change here in plastic. What is it? Plastic Reduction July, or what the official name is?
You know what? It's either plastic free July or no plastic.
Plastic
July.
free.
Just, stay away from plastics this July.
Okay, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. So just try to maybe one or two little things that you can do, like the water bottles. That's great.
Yeah.
Start somewhere.
Yeah, no, I really like that. And I'll add my own little tip in there too, to the mix. And so, there's a lot of these things that have been created and marketed as, reusable cutlery, reusable straws, reusable X, Y, and Z. Even those, reusable bags that you take to the grocery store with you. I have sometimes I call it pea brain or Swiss cheese brain, mashed potato brain. It really depends on what mood I'm in, but sometimes my memory isn't the best and I'm not gonna put those bags immediately back in the car. So I have a nice collection of just stuff that stays in my car. I'm not using every single bag every time I go grocery shopping, but the point is, for straws, for cutlery, for all these things, I kind of just keep stuff on the go with me for those moments where, like, let's say I want to go get something from the drive-through somewhere and I don't want a straw, which, they can withhold the straw, but then how do I drink it? I guess you could either do it right from the cup, which is definitely a good move. But if you do need that straw, you can just have it ready to go. Or maybe you're on a picnic and you don't want to pick up one of those little plastic bags with the napkin and all the utensils and the salt and pepper. You have your own cutlery ready to go. So just making sure to be prepared for just situations in life where, yeah, maybe, oh, sorry about that. If you do need to use those tools, you have them ready to go. Because otherwise it can be a little difficult, I think. They get stashed away. And then if you're not using them, if you're not actually reusing them, you're just kind of contributing to the waste problem by buying more of
Yeah.
them.
And to add on to that, I like that a lot. And I think what's really important for people to be reusing things and what they want to be sustainable, but it's always really hard, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these things we can't just throw in the dishwasher and be done. So my biggest recommendation to people when you go out looking for these sustainable alternatives, make sure it's easy. Make sure you can put these things in the dishwasher, keep a reusable bag in your car. Some people love them, some people hate them, but I really like the glass straws because I can see, if I've cleaned it out fully, I can make sure that it's actually clean. So make sure it's easy on yourself and whatever works for you.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment. The glass straws are my favorite for that exact reason. I have a couple metal ones. I do use them when my glass one's in the dishwasher or, soaking maybe a little bit in the sink because I forgot to clean it right away. The glass is the best, and they're pretty sturdy. I've never had an issue. I'm sure if you were to just like slam it down on a table, it'd probably not hold up very well, but just handling it normally.
Yeah, as long as you're like easily normal with it, yeah. And if you hit it a little too hard, maybe it will break and be considerate of that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Probably not an every person problem, but it's just things that I like have to keep in mind. I'm like, is this gonna break the second I start handling it? No, it's a good tool to have.
depends on the function, I'd say.
Yeah, sure. All right. So, I guess I think we covered all our bases here pretty much. So, do your best to reduce your plastic use. Yeah, that's a big takeaway from our podcast today. Sign up for cleanups where you can. Make an effort. Maybe recruit some friends or family along the way. You get a lot of stuff out of it. And of course, the biggest thing is keeping our environment clean and beautiful. And anything else I'm missing here in terms of takeaways or additional tips, tricks before I close this out?
Yeah. So if you're interested in getting more involved with Keep Sarasota County Beautiful, this is the first time we've collaborated on a cleanup, since I've been here within my position. I'll post all of our events on Eventbrite. So if you're following our Eventbrite page, you'll see it all first there. Also our mailing list too. I'll put out a lot of our opportunities on our mailing list too. So you can sign up for that on scgov.net/KSCB. You'll find other information too if you want to adopt a road. That's another easy way to give back to the community on a more frequent basis. But this is an exciting collaboration and partnership between KSCB and IFAS, and I'm excited to see where this blossoms and grows. This is a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a hoot and a half. Another one of my classic Jackie sayings. And all those resources you mentioned, I'll make sure are in the show notes. So to my dear listeners who are tuning in, anything that we mention as a resource during the show, you will find in the description of our podcast in the current show notes. So you're welcome to take a look, bookmark those links if you're interested. And definitely stay tuned to the Eventbrite. Sign up for anything that tickles your fancy. And, the big thing is we can each make a difference. And especially when we start getting the word out to our friends and the people around us on the regular, they start adopting those behaviors too. They start thinking about things. And so it might seem like, it's just one person versus the world, but really there's a lot of power in community cleanups, community conversations, and that's what it's all about. So do your best, make sure to pick easy solutions that work for your lifestyle and know that every bit counts. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.